Listen, I know all the people who do not like Tyler Perry films are already saying that this is not a good film, but listen, I just watched it and I was like really shocked at the emotion that this movie got out of me, okay? Because from the very first scene, my first thought was how tired and like drained they made Taraji look, right? Um, this movie was a mind bender to me because just you have to watch. If you have not watched the movie, we are going to talk spoilers in this video, and if you have not watched the movie and you're going to watch it, you have to watch it all the way until the end. Do not think that you know what's going to happen because it's a mind bender. Like I said, it was just like her character looked, Taraji's character looked tired. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't just physically, it was emotionally, spiritually. Like you could tell, like anybody who don't think that she did not play this part, she played the shit out of this part, okay? I really want to give props to Sherry Shepherd, Tiana Taylor, and Taraji Henson because those three right there were carried this movie, period. You know what I'm saying? And okay, I forgot that it was even a Tyler Perry production. I was pleased with the actors that he got. I really like the I really like this movie because it has so many indicators for self-care in it, right? Y'all know, listen, I keep saying this all the time in most of my self-care videos is that, self-care is necessary. It's not an option, it is necessary. And this movie really, really screams the points that that I be trying to make when it comes to self-care, okay? Because a lot of times people gloss over what self-care is, but anyway, my point for about her look, they did like Tyler Perry movies always have, these weird hairdos and these weird looking wigs and stuff like that, and I didn't feel like he did that in this one. Kudos to him for that. As far as putting her into the character, like we're looking at this movie, as like a movie, right? And just how much they put into her character, the hair, she looks sweaty the whole time, like the her skin, her eyes, especially her eyes. Like Taraji played the shit out this role, okay? But you could tell from the beginning that she was hanging on by a thread. You could tell. It was like no words needed to be said for us to get that, right? And all three of those women together, Taraji, Tiana Taylor, and Sherry Shepherd, they gave something to each of those roles. Like they played off of each other so well. I love seeing that mix. And like I don't know about you, but the emotion came through for me. And I don't know whether it's the fact that I'm a single mom. My child is grown, but I haven't had as bad of situations as she had, but just the fact of everything being on your shoulders and stuff like that, I could definitely relate. If you could relate to this movie, get in the comments below, let me know. Because I was shocked, like I said, at the emotion that it touched on in me. Like it had everything to do with the actresses as well. Like just seeing Taraji and Tiana and like it's just an unspoken like I don't know. It was so good. You could just they did really well with their roles, like especially collectively. So anyway, I don't feel like they were overacting like in Tyler Perry movies. It's like, they people usually overact, but they were just listen, they were just being and they played their roles, okay? But anyway, let's touch on some of the self-care themes that you saw because people might not even realize that they saw that there were self-care themes throughout this movie, and we're going to talk about a couple of them because this movie like quietly screamed about what it looks like when a woman has nothing left to give. Like, and I don't feel like a man could see it from our point of view, because I feel like they go through some of the same things, but it's totally different for a woman. So I'm not saying that there aren't going to be men that can relate to this because I know there will be, but I feel like they feel like that about some things about us. Like we just think differently, but as a single mom, I think this is where it hit me for real, because it's like, yeah, like I'm the one that has to go take him to school and then go to work for 8 hours, then get to the daycare or aftercare, depending on how old your child is, on time, so you don't have to pay extra fees. If he gets sick, then I would have to take off, and then I'm missing out on them. So it's like a lot of things, and it's not, obviously, my choices led me here. However, it's not always that black and white for everybody in the situation. And I just feel like, it's hard for men to relate because they're men and we're women. So anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like, she had nothing left to give, but you gotta keep going anyway. There is no choice. It's gotta work or it's gotta work. You know what I'm saying? So, Taraji's character never asked for help. She never really asked for help. You know what I'm saying? How many of us do that every day? I can raise my hand because I'm a person who, I don't really like to ask for help, but she never asked for help, and she just pushed. She was trying to push through and silently drowning. You know what I'm saying? And nobody knew what was going on. All the while, she's going around trying to do regular things that people have to do every day. So there was a scene where she was sitting there, and you could just feel the isolation. She didn't have anybody. Nobody was stepping in to even, like, she wasn't even really, communicating with people or whatever. So, but that's what I mean. Like, self-care is not just a break, it's connection. It's like, it like, when I say work on yourself, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, those things spill out into your other parts of your world, your job, your relationships, and everything like that. And it could be the same way, vice versa. If you're not doing it, if you're not checking in on yourself, it could also spill into your relationships, work, and stuff like that. Right? So, listen, we're not going to recap here, but I will say this, right? The end of the movie really bent my mind, because I was like, oh my God, the baby she never dropped the baby off at school. She never dropped the daughter off at school. And the lady's weird look in the beginning when she waved at her was like, I was like, why would she look at her like that? Because she was pulling up to drop her child off and there was no child in the car. So anyway, it's just the point where you realize that she was having a mental break. Like, it makes you think about everybody you come into contact with throughout your daily, life. You go to work, you might go to the gas station, you may go to the grocery store, whatever. You're meeting people, and you don't know what is going on in their lives. You don't know how they're processing stuff or anything like that. And I don't know. Like, I feel like if we paid more attention to self-care, right? Like, those things would not escalate as much. But anyway, this was a movie, but it was so bomb to see it and to have all these self-care things stand out, because I think mental health is very important, and I'm so glad that they're shining a light, because I think this opened a lot of people's eyes to how some other people, might be going through stuff or whatever. Like I said, the situation don't even got to be the same, but it was parts in this movie that I feel like a lot of people could relate to or whatever. But let's say this, right? Let's say that the main theme throughout is that you need to check in on yourself daily. How are you really doing today? Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. How are you doing? Okay? And check on your friends that you feel like are strong friends and they take care of everything. Ask them, how are they doing mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, okay? And it's okay to find somebody to talk to. The fact that she never talked to anybody or asked anybody for help, I mean, even if her mother knew what was going on, nobody was checking on her or whatever. Like, all the stuff that happened in that day was just crazy, okay? But this is even more important. Like, when people say they'll sleep when they die, it is so dangerous not to get the right amount of sleep, all right? So when you need a rest, you need to take a rest. You should not wait for your body to make you take that rest, all right? You don't have to earn rest. you need it to go forward and do the things that you need to do. So if your body is asking for it, that's reason enough. Okay. um and then we could also talk about setting boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Saying no to stuff that drains you, and yes to stuff that is gonna uplift you and support you. Even if it's just saying yes to, I'm gonna be still, I'm not gonna do anything. You know what I mean? Um, that that's also self-care. Um, and also, I feel like, even in situations where people don't have a lot of money and stuff like that, you still have to find something joyful to do. You have to do something for you. A moment of joy is not selfish, it is necessary. That could be different for everybody, right? Sometimes it might be a warm cup of tea after a long day, or some people may have retail therapy, but it depends. Just because you don't have money does not mean you cannot do something for yourself. Okay. So this was kind of like, it wasn't a review. Well, it was a review because I told y'all how I viewed the movie. Like, I really enjoyed the movie. I have not had a movie touch me emotionally in a long time, to the point where I don't even remember the name of the movie, the last movie that made me, made my eyes water. But I could definitely relate to this. But I want y'all to get in the comments below. Do you like the movie? Did you like the movie? Have you watched the movie? I want to see where my viewers are at as far as who liked it and who didn't, and what was some things that stood out to you. You know what I mean? It reminded me that self-care is not optional. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say that again. Self-care is not optional. It is survival. And if you don't make space for your emotions, they will eventually make space for themselves in the worst way sometimes, as in this movie, right? But we've all seen situations where people have snapped, even at work. So it could manifest in ways that you might not be ready for. So self-care is not optional. If that's the only thing you take away from this video, you know what I'm saying? That's actually, yeah, that's a good title too, because I'm recording this video before I actually figured out what the title was. But the title was gonna be self-care is not optional. All right. So I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. If we need to come back and talk about this movie again, we can definitely do that. But get in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Remember, self-care is not optional.